Just so we're on the same page, not only is this top secret, it's also wrong. It's a lie, and it's also classified. Before we get into this topic today, give me a few seconds to talk about something that I think is very important. There is a fundraiser on this video for the National Network of Abortion Funds that I'm asking you to donate to. Whatever amount, any amount, no donation is too small. Every year, Brittany Page and I run a fundraiser during the month of June to recognize the continued fallout of the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022. Across the country, women are still in desperate need of essential health care that they are sometimes forced to flee the state in which they live to obtain. That's where the National Network of Abortion Funds comes in. They work with nearly 100 independent abortion funds to ensure women who contact the funds have access to factual evidence-based information, but also these funds provide financial and logistical support to those who need to travel to obtain an abortion. Your donation could help them cover the cost of the procedure for someone desperately needing it, as well as the costs associated with transportation out of state if that's necessary. If you are not in a financial position to give to this fundraiser, please don't feel any pressure to do so. You can simply share this video with a friend, share information about the National Network of Abortion Funds, and try to make some people more aware of these organizations that are doing this critical work. If you can donate, I would encourage you to do so while we are running this fundraiser and trying to generate as much support for this very worthy cause as we can. Thanks. Donald Trump or Republicans are so deluded, they believe that when Donald Trump struck Iran's nuclear program in an unprovoked attack, backing the play of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, that he would be welcomed home like a conquering hero. Like some movie from Hollywood, like the Gladiator, when the Joaquin Phoenix character comes down the promenade and he's welcomed by all the Romans. That's how Donald Trump wants to be thought of, as a Caesar, as an emperor, as a dictator on day one. And so when his military campaign fell apart because of the fact that they said it's a obliteration, annihilation, utter destruction, and then top secret information was leaked to CNN that they're reporting that no, actually it wasn't obliterated, the nuclear program. We actually just set them back maybe months at best is what they say. And between Donald Trump doubling down on decimation, obliteration, annihilation talk, he's got J.D. Vance out there, out of the other side of the mouth of the administration, saying, oh, well, we set the program back. Ooh, we're going to continue our efforts to make sure it's gone. And the media, after this top secret leak that I'm going to read a little bit about here, they're asking all kinds of questions now of members of Congress, like, hey, what's going on with the language? Donald Trump assures us, as the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces, as president of the United States, he assures us that it was decimated, destroyed. And the intelligence community has other thoughts about it. And I'm going to play a clip for you of Michael McCaul, congressman, telling Casey Hunt from CNN that, no, this is just semantics. It's just semantics. Whether we set the program back a couple months or it was obliterated, just semantics. Let me introduce you to the story about it's an exclusive from CNN on the top secret information that was, at least it's classified right now by the White House, which who knows whether that's true, as top secret. But here's the headline. Early U.S. intel assessments suggest strikes on Iran did not destroy nuclear sites, sources say. The United States military strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program and likely only set it back by months, according to an early United States intelligence assessment that was described by 4 people briefed on it. The assessment, which has not been previously reported, was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Pentagon's intelligence arm. It is based on a battle damage assessment conducted by the U.S. Central Command in the aftermath of the U.S. strikes, one of the sources said. The analysis of the damage to the sites and the impact of the strikes on Iran's nuclear ambitions is ongoing and could change as more intelligence becomes available. But the early findings are at odds with President Trump's repeated claims that the strikes, quote, completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth also said on Sunday that Iran's nuclear ambitions had been obliterated. Two of the people familiar with the assessment said Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was not destroyed. One of the people said the centrifuges are largely intact. And look, I'm not laughing because I'm happy that Iran it still has the capacity to enrich uranium. I'm not. But it's just kind of a schadenfreude response when Donald Trump fails. When Donald Trump gets caught in lying to the American people on a loop. One more line, and then I'm going to get to a statement from Caroline Leavitt that you won't, but well, you'll believe it, but the common parlance, you have to see it to believe it, one of those deals. So the Defense Intelligence Agency assessment is that the U.S. set them back maybe a few months tops, this person added. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, yeah, look, here's another one. Here's another one of these individuals who is incapable of doing the job. Unqualified to do the job. The only thing that Donald Trump looks for in these people is sycophancy. It's lapdog nature. It's bootlickers. It's how much dedication do they have to the cult of Donald Trump. And if it's more than this level or this level, then you got a job. And that's how Caroline Leavitt has her job right now. This is what she said in response to this reporting, this thorough reporting from CNN. Caroline Leavitt told CNN in a statement, this alleged assessment is flat out wrong and was classified as top secret, but was still leaked to CNN by an anonymous low-level loser in the intelligence community. So just so we're on the same page, everybody, not only is this top secret, it's also wrong. It's a lie, and it's also classified. Apparently, the United States government is in the business of classifying with high-level, top-secret classification things that are untrue. And this low-level loser leaked it. The leaking, she continues, of this alleged assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets. Total obliteration. This is also what happens. Everybody knows what happens, well, use her words, when you put people who have no understanding, any level of fundamental knowledge about the military, about military operations. They don't know. It sounds good. She's watched a whole bunch of Mission Impossible movies. She's an expert. Here's Michael McCaul being asked about this by Casey Hunt on CNN yesterday. Where's the discrepancy here? Donald Trump is saying obliteration. This top secret classified information is saying, no. We just set the program back by months, maybe weeks. Watch this.
Against this report said it was wrong. I'm interested to know your reaction to this, considering that President Trump has repeatedly said that the program was, quote, completely obliterated.
Well, it's unfortunate that intelligence gets leaked so quickly in this administration. I understand the president's frustration. Having said that, it did cause significant damage. And I think that's important in terms of a time to negotiate a peaceful resolution. However, and I've been briefed on this plan in the past, it was never to completely destroy these three facilities, but rather cause significant damage. But it was always known to be a temporary setback where they could then rebuild the centrifuges. I think right now the key is to keep applying the pressure, the leverage.
So why do you think the president is saying what he's saying in public, if that's the case?
Well, because it did cause significant damage. And he had 12, 30,000-pound bombs being dropped. It's all a matter of semantics. I think the president, thinking it caused, It completely obliterated, look, it caused significant damage. It was a temporary setback, however, a temporary enough to now have negotiations.
It's all a matter of semantics. There's a gulf, an ocean of difference between annihilation, obliteration, destruction, and setting a program back a few months. It's not semantics. It's opposite day. It's completely different things. It's not a semantical argument. In fact, remember the thing I just read from CNN, setting them back a couple of months, right? Just that's all it is. There was no destruction, says the intelligence community. And then I want you to listen to Pete Hegseth and how he classified it. And you tell me if this is just semantics.
Last night on President Trump's orders, U.S. Central Command conducted a precision strike in the middle of the night against 3 nuclear facilities in Iran, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, in order to destroy or severely degrade Iran's nuclear program. And as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs will demonstrate, it was an incredible and overwhelming success. The order we received from our commander-in-chief was focused, it was powerful, and it was clear. We devastated the Iranian nuclear program. But it's worth noting the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people. For the entirety of his time in office, President Trump has consistently stated for over 10 years that Iran must not get a nuclear weapon. Full stop. Thanks to President Trump's bold and visionary leadership and his commitment to peace through strength, Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated.
Is it semantics? Is it semantics when Donald Trump, even more flanked by his cadre of goofy cabinet secretaries and his vice president? Is it semantics when he says that it was obliteration, complete and total? Let me get the quote right. Completely and totally obliterated a spectacular military success.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
This is not semantics. Donald Trump has an army of cult members, including Representative Michael McCaul, who have to say that in order to stay in good graces with Donald Trump. We're witnessing right now what happens when you cross Donald Trump as a Republican. He's pretty much just sent Thomas Massey from Kentucky into the wilderness to fend for himself because he has dared to rise up and say something in opposition to Donald Trump and his policies. Some congresspeople, members of Congress, have said they fear for their families, the safety, the physical security of their families if they speak against Donald Trump. It's time to grow a backbone, Republicans. The safety and security of American families depend on you doing your job and having the intestinal fortitude, as it were, to speak against the dear leader. It's time to pick a side. You either side with America and Americans or you side with Donald Trump. I think the choice is clear. What do you think? You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month. You can also help support this work and help produce these videos going over to Patreon, patreon.com/I Doubt It podcast. I will see you next time. I'd love to hear from you on this. Be genuine. Take care of one another.